think that's recording. So hey everybody. Okay, so I have thought long and hard about this, and I've decided to go ahead and do it. But basically, I did say that I was going to do a video to talk about my training so far for the 10 marathons in 10 days challenge, and I asked for anybody with any questions to put them forward to me and I'll answer them in my video. Anyway, when I was on my run today, I ran through Mosley, and Mosley is actually a dark place for me to be. Only certain sections of Mosley, the rest of it is pretty okay. But yeah, when I was running through Mosley today, in par with me thinking about the questions that people had been asking about my challenge, one of the most frequently asked ones was, why am I doing this challenge? Why have I chosen this charity? What made me decide to do it? So basically, as I was running through Mosley, that question kept coming back to me, and I thought, how am I going to answer that the best way that I can? And the only way that I can really, so anyway, that's what's made me decide to talk about more on why I'm doing this and why I've chosen this charity. So I can obviously talk about my training so far later on. But basically, when I was running through Mosley, I realised that, well, it's not like I've just realised it today, but Mosley is the place where I was freed. It's no secret to anybody that I was put in a children's home when I was 8, and I was fostered when I was just before my 11th birthday. But yeah, I was freed. Just to give you an insight of my background, when I was 8, I was, well, let's talk about the day that I was freed, shall we? So the day I was freed was when my cousin Julie, who I will tag into this video, I'm sure she won't mind the mention, her and her mum had come to visit our house. I had been tied up to bunk beds for numerous days. I don't know how many days, but days and nights passed. My little sister Catherine, she was 3 at the time, she was in the bunk bed below. The first couple of days I was actually tied up lying down on my bed, which was the top bunk, and one night I was able to free my hands, and in the middle of the night I was woken up by my mum. She just dragged me by the hair, pulled me out of the bed. I landed on the floor and she was kicking me, telling me that I shouldn't have untied myself. She then went and got something else, I think it was a washing line, I'm not too sure. But then I was then tied up by standing up, with my hands tied around the bed behind me and my feet tied to the post. I was there, stood up for a few days. Again, my little sister Catherine was in the bed as well, obviously not tied up. And then one day my cousin Julie came round with my auntie, her mum, and I heard her coming up the stairs and I shouted her. She came in and the first thing that she did was laughed, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I just said to her, "I'm tied up, my mum's tied me up." And she went down, she went to the toilet first and then she went downstairs. She must have said something to her mum, and the next minute her mum come barging in. She untied me. I remember her saying to my mum, "What have you done? What have you done?" And basically she carried me all the way down to the school, which was just around the corner. And I remember I was in the head teacher's office, and I was then escorted to the classroom. I was very rarely in school, to be honest. But anyway, it must have been the end of the day because it was story time, and I was told that I had to sit on the carpet, was being told a story. But I remember the class teacher was constantly looking at me, and I felt very uncomfortable. I was worried about what was going on. I was worried about going home. Was my mum angry with me? Things like that. Anyway, the next minute a teacher came. I don't know whether it was a teacher, but somebody came and they just picked me up off the floor and carried me back to the head teacher's office. And I remember she looked at my arms, and even that was when I saw all the marks on my arms, on my wrists. And I remember this teacher crying. This woman, she was crying, and she kept saying, "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry." And then the next thing, I was in a children's home. And yeah, so that was the day that I was freed. And I was thinking about that today on my run, because like I said, one of the most frequently asked questions about why have I chosen this charity and why have I chosen to do this challenge is because I was looking after COVID. We had nothing to train for, and I wanted some motivation to get back into running properly again. And I was looking to do an ultra, and I came across this 10 marathons in 10 days and didn't really think nothing of it, but I knew of a fellow runner, Sean Warburton, who'd done it before, so I asked him questions about it, and he got really excited about it. And I looked at the website, the charity's website. They're called Brathay Trust, and basically what they do is they support the lives of vulnerable children and young people. So I'll talk more about them in a minute. And so basically I kept going back to the website and reading stories from young people who Brathay Trust had helped to inspire. So on my run, I remembered things that happened to me. When I was in the children's home, I remember, I don't know whether it was a charity or not, but they were associated with the police in some form, and they used to come and pick us up. Well, they picked me up, and they'd take me rowing, so we'd go canoeing. I went rock climbing, I started swimming lessons, and things like that. And then when I was fostered, I then started Girl Guides. I went to church. That was where I got my faith from. I spent a long time asking myself, why me? What's wrong with me? Why did it all happen to me? That was when I knew everything that had happened was wrong, because before then I didn't realise it was all wrong. And so I spent a long time, a good 4 years from being like 10 to 14, just constantly asking myself, why me? Why did it happen to me? What's wrong with me? Why does nobody like me? Why did it all happen? But these activities, these people who came and picked me up, and what they were doing was they were engaging me with society, and it really helped to take my mind off things. And you witness things as well. So that was when I realised that everything that had happened to me was wrong, and it shouldn't have happened, because I was out there in the community and seeing then different people and hearing their stories, and when I was hearing their stories, my heart went out to them. That shouldn't have happened to you, that's awful, things like that. So I strongly believe that I am the way I am today, not because of the abuse and neglect that I've gone through, but because I was saved, because I was given those opportunities to be out there with society, with doing things that I enjoyed doing. I loved Girl Guides. I loved doing things. I loved helping people. I love running, and I love helping people to find the motivation to run. I love seeing people succeed with whatever they are doing. And this charity is very, very similar to the charity who came and supported me when I needed it. Because I think if I hadn't have done those activities, where would I be now? You know, you've seen the Jeremy Kyle show, right? There's a lot of people that was on that program who said, you know, oh, I had a really bad childhood, blah blah blah, so now I'm taking drugs and I'm an alcoholic and my head's screwed up and everything. But I'm not like that. The only thing my past has affected really is rejection. I can't cope with rejection because I dwell on the reasons why. So why don't they like me? Why? What have I done? Blah blah blah. But yeah, I truly believe that I was saved, and because I was given those opportunities, I am the person that I am today. And during COVID, there's so many young children who have really suffered. They weren't involved with society. They was sent home from school until that school was no more. They were doing remote learning, and there's been such a high increase on suicide attempts from young people over the last 18 months. It's frightening. It really is frightening. And the work that the Brathay Trust do is they reach out to these young people, and they come in and they do activities, and they find what the passion is, and they inspire them. They've got a project on at the moment that's specially for young children and adults who have really suffered during COVID and are really struggling to find their way back into the community. I've got a son who struggled to go back into college, and you know, so I completely understand why these young people are really struggling at the moment, as I'm sure you can as well. And I believe that with the work that the Brathay Trust do, if they can reach out to these children and get them engaged with their community, with society, then I think it'll have a really huge positive impact on that person's well-being. So this charity, the challenge that I'm doing is for the charity. And the thought of doing 10 marathons in 10 days absolutely frightens the hell out of me. It genuinely does. And I know there's people out there as well who think she's not going to do that. I've heard, and I know. And I understand as well, because if someone like me turned around and said, I'm running 10 marathons in 10 days, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But do you know, every single day that I'm going to be there, I'm going to be thankful for every single day that I live and breathe. I'm a success story. I was saved, I was freed, and it was because of this kind of work that the Brathay Trust do. So every day for them 10 days that I'm going to be doing those marathons, that is what's going to see me through each day. I don't care if I'm covered head to toe in rock tape. I will do this challenge. I'm putting in a lot of training. I'm doing things I don't even enjoy doing, such as swimming. I am actually learning to like it now, but you know, I'm really trying my best to make sure that I succeed with this challenge and that I raise these important funds for the charity. And so yeah, there you go. So I haven't talked about my training, I know, and I'm sorry, but the most frequently asked question was, why are you doing this and why have you chosen this charity? So like I said, the challenge actually is associated with the charity. So Brathay Trust organised this event, but it's because of my background, my personal background, and it's because of that, which is why I decided to take on the challenge. So I guess my next plea is that if you wish to support me, I'd be really, really grateful if you did, obviously. Come to my curry night. That's going to be such a good night. I've got some amazing prizes to give away, to raffle off, and I've got other events coming up as well. We've got the beer run, obviously, and there's going to be a race night in February. Our local school as well, St John's, they're actually doing an event at the moment, so they're helping me, which I'm thrilled to bits about, and I really do hope all the children there are enjoying doing what they're doing. I can't wait to go and see and hear all about it. But yeah, so I'd be grateful if anybody would like to make a donation or support me by coming to one of my events. And also as well, just before I finished, the 10th marathon, right, is on the 22nd of May. And before you go and book onto that Manchester Marathon, the one that pays you, that charges an absolute fortune, almost 3 figures, and they go through all the palaver of the traffic and everything. Please sign up to the Windermere Marathon, which is on the 22nd, because that's going to be my 10th. It's going to be an emotional day for me, and I would absolutely love as many of my friends as possible to be there. And you don't have to run it with me, you can run your own race. It would be great if you did run with me. I can promise you it won't be fast, but just if you would like to be there, I would be absolutely thrilled to bits if you could be there. I'm trying to get as many people there as possible, and it's only £40, and it's in the Lake District, so what more can you ask for? Beautiful scenery, a great course, and my 10th marathon as well, so a very special day it will be. So yeah, so that's the reason why I'm doing this challenge. I hope that answers that question, and I promise that in a few weeks I will do another video just to talk about my training and let you know how I'm getting on with that. So yeah, from me, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks.